It's so wonderful to be here with you and to move together. Let's start on our backs. Of course, have your props nearby. You'll definitely want a strap, maybe some rolled up towels, blocks if you have them. So come on down to your back. And we'll start by just checking in that our pelvis is tilting into neutral, so we're not flattening our waist and lifting our pubic bone up. But then when we tilt our pelvis into neutral, do our ribs tend to thrust up a lot? And if they do, can we soften them down without tucking our pelvis under? So that's where it becomes tricky. And if it's too tricky, meaning it's really hard to keep your pelvis in neutral and relax your ribs down, not force them down, then you'd want to put something higher underneath your shoulder blades to give a little lift so that your ribs can stay down with more ease. But let's just start to tune into our breath as we draw one knee in and then the other knee. It's okay if your hands don't reach since you're keeping your pelvis in neutral. The back of the opposite thigh will stay pretty close to the floor or eventually all the way down. And just start to feel your body here. Go slow at first. Start to tune in to your breathing. Not any particular pattern, just be aware of it flowing. And as you move your knees in and out, hip distance apart is when about the center of your knee, you have two bones that stick out the top outside of your top of your pelvis. Hip distance is about when that knee comes in, that it's centered with that pelvic bone. All right, next time your right knee comes in, we'll just hold it in and we'll move the leg a little bit out, back to center, and a little bit in. And just go slow. Keep thinking of your tailbone tilting down to the floor. Keep thinking of your knee coming in closer without your waist flattening. So we're maintaining our neutral pelvis to the best of our ability. All right, let's switch legs. Extend that right leg long, bring the left knee in, tailbone tilts one way as thigh bone comes in the other way, and moving that leg around, side to side. Feel your hips. Feel the muscles around the bone. Feel how it changes when you're in the middle versus out to the side a little versus across the body a little bit. And let's do each leg one more time. So bring that right knee in, tilting the tailbone away as the thigh comes in. And of course, if your hand doesn't reach, you don't even have to have your hand, but you can also wrap a strap around the back of your thigh, which is pretty nice. I'm gonna do that actually. Or you can wrap it around your shin too and hold your shin in closer to your thigh, like we did last week, but without this side to side movement. It's really nice with the strap because it allows you to just create a little bit more resistance. All right, let's switch sides. Extend that right leg, bring that left leg in, strap around the back of the thigh or around the shin as long as it doesn't bother any of your joints. All right, release that strap. So you're going to bend your knees, place your feet flat, walk your feet wide, likely wider than your mat. And you're going to go from letting your knees fall in towards each other. You can roll to the inside edge of your foot. And then you're gonna let your thighs drop open and roll towards the outer edge of your foot. Now your feet might slide in a little bit towards each other, but you're not bringing them all the way together like we often do for this pose, cobbler's pose or Supta Baddha Konasana. So you're keeping your feet wide and thighs come in nice and slowly and then roll open, and there's gonna be a limit because your legs aren't gonna open anymore, and that's okay. So just take your time and go slow. And a little sliding is okay, but in general, you're keeping the feet pretty wide. You're trying to just let the thighs drop open any amount with gravity. And feel free to pause. So let's say when you open, that's where you carry your tension. You're just like, wow, with my feet separated. Pause there. For some people, the thighs dropping in does not happen very easily. So if that's you, even if they're not touching, pause there. Pause in the internal rotation. Okay, next time your thighs drop in, we're going to pause there, and then you can walk your feet farther away from each other. Now, if your thighs have a challenging time going in, stay towards the inner edge of your foot. But if your thighs come in very easily, how about trying to keep the sole of your foot down as your thighs drop in? So they might not touch anymore when you keep the sole of your foot down. And then from here, try to relax any tension, excessive tension that you feel clenching around your thighs and hips. Bring your arms up into the air with your elbows bent. You're going to try to bring your hands and your elbows together with bent elbows. Now, if you're just like, no way, this isn't happening, you can take a thin block or a towel or something and set it up. Might take a moment between your forearms. So elbows bent, you've got either your elbows and hands together or something resting between your forearms, and then you're gonna just draw circles with your arms. So they're kind of staying in this bent shape as you circle around. It's like you're giving your upper back a little bit of massage. But trying to keep your arms either connected or connected to a block or a towel. And then pause and circle in the other direction. And the circle is not very big. It's not very big at all. Letting your breath flow. Keep relaxing those inner thighs. Keep pressing down through the soles of the feet. Maybe you forgot that. And you can go side to side, circle one way, and then circle the other way. All right, and then from there, release your arms, lift your knees up, bring your feet back into hip distance apart. Come up on the heel of your right foot, cross your left ankle over, work with a flexed ankle. If your sole of your inner arch of your foot tends to roll forward towards you, turn it away from you a little bit, and then up on your heel with your left knee dropping away from you, you're just gonna roll to the one side of your heel and back over to the other side of your heel. So you're just rolling that bottom heel a little bit to the outer edge of the heel and a little bit to the inner edge of the heel. You're not going farther than that. You're keeping within that range of motion, so just maybe a couple inches to each side. And keeping that left thigh opening away from you, front ribs relaxing down. And if you feel any particular, and go slow so you can feel what's happening in your hip muscles so that you can pause if you'd like to. And I'm going to pause right at this angle. This is the perfect angle for me to take a few breaths. And come back to center and switch. So you're on the heel of your left foot, and then you're going to cross your right ankle over. Keep the ankle flexed. If the inner arch tends to turn towards you, turn it away from you a little bit, opening that right thigh, and then rolling just from the very outer edge of your heel to the back of the inner edge of the heel. Relaxing any clenching that's going on. We're just taking our time to wake up these muscle tissues in a gentle way. You'll be happy that you did as we go through class. All right, uncross, ankles, knees bent, ankles under the knees, feet straight. Lift your right foot up off the floor just like we did last week. We're extending the leg up and bending the knee. And just notice how far forward your leg has to get for you to extend it. Can you try to go more straight up in the air, keeping your pelvis pretty steady? And just doing the best you can to feel your extension through the outer thigh, through the inner thigh, through the back of the thigh. Maybe you can start to recognize what part of the thigh feels the most tension. Like, what is it that's making it the most challenging to get the leg all the way straight? And then let's switch. Lift that left foot up off the floor and extend and bend. And for this leg, my leg definitely wants to go forward more. So I'm just going to be more aware of that. Okay, now let's do some angles. So you'll lift the right foot up off the floor and you're open it out to the right, and a little bit goes a long way. And now you're extending the leg slightly out to the right. And you're just trying to straighten through the top of the thigh, not forcing through the knee, but try to get more length from around the top of the thigh. All right, now bring that knee in across the body just a little bit and extend there. So it's like it's reaching over across your left knee. All right, let's switch legs. Lift that left foot up. First, take the left knee a little bit out to the left and extend and bend at that outside angle. Still working with a neutral pelvis here. Almost always working with a neutral pelvis. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. Because we spend a lot of time not in a neutral pelvis. All right, kick that leg across towards your right knee and extend and bend. All right, let's break up tension in those hips in another way. So grab your strap, wrap it around the ball of your right foot, extend your left leg long. Try to only go as high that you can keep your pelvis untucked, the back of the left thigh down, and the right leg straight. Trust me, it'll make a big difference. Even though you see my leg up here, if your pelvis is tucked under or your knee is bent, you're going to get much more benefit in the long run if your leg is lower. And sometimes I like to practice low too, but you're trying to break up tension in a way that allows your leg to straighten more and get it higher, and that's not going to happen at as much ease if your pelvis is tucked under and your knee is bent. It actually might not happen at all or for a very long time. So untuck, get the leg a little bit straighter. And then from here, we're just going to watch the ankle. Does it tend to twist to one side? If it does, untwist. Starting with your ankle in line with your hip, you're just going up and down a little bit. And we're just starting center for a moment. And as you can see, I'm barely moving. It's not even a foot going up and down. I'm just pulling a little bit up on my leg and letting it go back down to where it was. And now take that leg out to the right. You can rest your right elbow down and do the same thing. And try to keep a straight leg. And it's a very small range of motion. You're just working, you're finding a pocket of tension in your inner thigh, and you're just moving back and forth within that pocket. Try not to let the knee slightly bend. I mean, if you're already working with a bent knee, that's one thing. But for a lot of people, when you start to go into these angles, you start with a straight leg, and then you'll find that the tension up at the top of the hip pulls the knee into a soft bend. All right, and then bring that leg up and take it across the body and then go up and down there. And I think we did do this angle last week. Just such a good one for our bodies to get into this outer hip area, this area that we need to build a lot of healthy strength over time. All right, let's switch legs. Bring that leg up, switch, put the ball of your left foot through, extend your right leg, untuck your pelvis, try to straighten that leg, untwist your ankle, and little lifts up and down, keeping the ankle in line with that top outer pelvic bone, pulling back gently on the ball of the foot. All right, take the leg a little bit out to the left and work up and down there. And like you're going down by your side and up by your side. Relax any clenching. Are you clenching the front of your thigh, your quadricep? All right, take the leg up and across the body and then go a little bit up and down there without pelvic motion. Pelvis stays relaxed. Find a pocket of motion that you can just move within the hip. That could be down here. That's okay. That actually feels really good too. You could just spend, lots of time working really low, going a little higher, going up and down, going a little higher, going up and down. Notice the connection of the left leg moving. Do you feel anything going on in your right leg, in your right groin area? So you start to see how the movement of the two legs is connected. All right, release that strap. Okay, we're gonna do some bridge lifts. Again, like last week, we're kind of building some stuff from last week. So you can take the block out from under your head or you can keep it, push into the feet, lift your hips up into the air, press down equally through the soles of the feet and slowly lower down. And again, press and lift up. Try to notice if you clench anywhere in particular. Muscles are going to activate, but you shouldn't feel one area of the body working or squeezing a lot harder than the other area. And then lower down. Walk your feet wide, so as wide as your mat. Maybe the outer edges of your feet line up with the outer edge of your mat so you can feel that your feet are truly straight. And then push down and lift up into a wide bridge pose. Notice if your thighs tend to collapse out or collapse in. You can move them a little bit back and forth. Sometimes that's nice. So almost like you're subtly collapsing them in and out, but with control. And then maybe you'll realize, oh, I was collapsing in and I didn't realize it. Or I was collapsing out and I didn't realize it. All right, lower your hips down, bring your feet all the way together, big toes touching, maybe a little space through your heel, and lift up there. Relax any clenching. Sometimes this is the hardest one to relax clenching. You'll notice you're clenching on one side, not the other. And lower your hips down, and again, walk your feet wide and press into the feet and lift your hips up. And you can rock your thighs a little bit side to side if that feels good. How about keeping your ankles pretty steady? So that shows how small of a rock it is. And then bring your hips down and walk your feet, big toes touching again, and lift your toes up here, or lift your hips up here. Notch your toes, pressing down into your heels. If you ever feel pressure in your knees, play with walking your feet a little bit farther away from you or a tiny bit closer, very small amount. And I clench my left buttocks when I'm in this position, so I just realized it and I let go. But so being aware of that, and then slowly lower your hips down. Okay, bring your feet back to hip distance, scoot your hips over to the left, and roll your whole body over to the right. And keep on going. You can grab whatever was under your head, put it back under there, lay all the way on the side of your body, and bring your arms in front of you with your palms on top of each other, knees bent and stacked in front of you. Your knees are your anchor, so you're only going to go as far as neither of your knees lift up. And then you're going to lift your top arm open and roll your torso open. And then bring your hand back to your other hand. And roll open, ribs stay relaxed down. And bring the hand back without the legs moving. And roll open. And come back. And roll open. And come back. Good. All right. Lift your top leg up first to unwind your spine. Scoot your hips a big hop over to the right. Roll your whole body over to the left. Keep on going. Bring your hands in front of you. Stack your knees in front of you. Ankles stacked. And then with your right hand on top of your left hand, you're rolling just your chest open without your lower body moving. And bring the hand back. And you're not necessarily trying to get your hand to the floor or anything. You're kind of keeping your arm in line with your shoulder. So you're not trying to drop down below your shoulder, keeping your arm about in line with your shoulder, and then lower down. And open, and lower, and open, and close. All right, lift your top leg, your right leg up first, come back onto your back, and then you're either going to roll to one side and press yourself up or give yourself a little rock to come up, and maybe if it feels good, let your spine round your lower back and roll back to about your shoulders and come back up, and roll back to about your shoulders and come back up. All right, once you're up sitting, put your feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Put your hands behind you, a little wider than your hips. And we're gonna do our fingers in 3 different positions. So we're gonna start and put your fingers all the way together. Fingers all the way together, bend your elbows, hug them in towards each other a little bit. Press down equally through the palms of your hands. All right, press yourself up, roll off your fingers as you do, trying to sit up tall in your pelvis, keeping your legs hip distance apart. Take your right arm up and over into a side bend, and then take your left arm up and over into a side bend. Good, then bring your hands back, and now you're gonna spread your fingers as wide as you comfortably can. So hands back a little wider than hips, spread those fingers wide. Bend the elbows, hug them in towards each other, breathing here, pressing down equally through the palms of the hands with wide fingers. And then press yourself up, roll off the tips of your fingers, try to tilt your pelvis as upright as you can, and then twist your belly to your right, and then twist your belly to your left. All right, now one more time. This time, how about just fingers in line with your knuckles? So instead of together, instead of wide, just about knuckle distance apart. Put your hands back behind your hips, bend your elbows any amount, hug them in slightly, front ribs relaxing down, press equally down through the palms of the hands. Good, and then press yourself up and come around onto your knees and hands. And from your hands and your knees, spread your thumbs out towards each other, wrap your elbow pits forward, tailbone high up in the air, rhomboid push-ups. Your upper back drops down with gravity. You're not doing anything. You lift up and you're getting your upper back to spread wide without tucking your tailbone under. Feel those arm bones pull back a little bit so that you're not pushing your elbows in front of your wrist. Wonderful, wonderful rhomboid push-ups. Now check your fingers. Are they always together? Are they always far apart? Can you line up your fingers more knuckle distance apart? Or are some of your fingers always together and some of your fingers always apart? Interesting how that does affect all the way up your arm bones. Okay, for this next one, if you don't have a block, you can just maybe use something that has a little bit of height, and so at least you have two different variations. You can do the floor and something that has a little height. But if you have a block, with your forearms down on the floor, put the block in front of your left hand and put your right hand up. And we'll do palm up every time. If that's not comfortable, you can do pinky finger side up, or you can do palm down. So rotate your palm up and just feel your belly relax, and you're lengthening that arm bone. And we're just taking a couple breaths in each one. And then you're going to turn the block to the second highest height and put your hand up there. And then turn the block to the third highest height and put your hand up there. And it's over in front of your left hand. All right, let's switch arms. Start with the block in front of your right hand, elbow right under your shoulder. Reach your left hand over, palm up. Breathing here. All right, let's flip the block to the second highest height, palm up and reaching across. Arm is nice and long. Are you clenching any of your leg muscles? Try to let them relax. Relax the lower belly, that helps. Turn the palm up to the highest height. Or the block is what I meant to say. All right, from there, put that block to your side, come back onto all fours, hands and knees, spread your thumbs out towards each other, wrap your elbow pits forward, and then we'll extend the right leg back, stretch long through that leg. Try to feel like you're reaching it as straight as you can, and then micro lift and lower. So just about as high as your hip, not much higher. You're wrapping your elbow pits, you're in the top of the rhomboid push-up. As you lift, you're trying to straighten your leg as much as you can. So can you get a little bit more length through your leg, and it will activate more of your hip musculature as you get that leg really straight. And then let's do the other leg. So ribs up, elbow pits wrap forward, extend that opposite leg back. And then from here, tuck the toes under a lot, press back through the heel, get that length, and then lift and lower here. And straighten the leg as much as you can every time you lift. All right, how about let's do the other leg one more time. Ribs up, extend that right leg back, lift the leg into the air, hold, reach back through that thigh bone, and point and flex. Point and flex. Point and flex. Point and flex. How about trying to spread all your toes? And then lower that knee down, extend your opposite leg back, ribs up, elbow pits wrap forward, extend long through that leg, and point and flex, point, flex, point, flex, point, flex. How about trying to spread all your toes out? And then from there, put that knee down, come on and stand up on your knees. You might want some padding here for under your knees, so consider having a towel. Put it under your left knee to start, and then extend, put your right foot forward, and we'll start with the ankle right behind the knee. You can do toes tucked under or top of the foot, and go forward in the pelvis, only so much that your pelvis doesn't start to tilt. So start with a neutral pelvis with your pelvis in vertical, and then just see how far can you move forward, keeping that pelvis in vertical, keeping those bones stacked on top of each other. And breathing here. And you can even go in and out a little bit if you'd like a little bit of motion here. Now we're going to change the angle of the back leg. So you're going to hop that back leg out to the left a little bit. And this is where in all of these movements, you want to please make sure you are not feeling discomfort in the knee, any which way. Move your knee, pad your knee. There should be no discomfort in the knee here. And again, pelvis goes forward, pubic bone forward. You can even move back and forth a little bit at this angle. Hips are still squared, facing straight ahead. So make sure you didn't turn your hips in this particular position as you rotated your thigh bone. All right, bring that leg back to center. Take it across behind you a little bit. Turn your hips back to center and then moving in and out here. Or just staying and keep working on gently tucking the pelvis under and relaxing the ribs down. So for one angle, it might feel better to move. For another angle, it might feel better to stay still. This is what happened in my body. One angle, I want it to move. This angle, it feels much better for me to just hold steady. And then bring your foot back and let's switch legs. So step your right leg back, maybe switch the padding of your knee. Step your left foot forward, feet straight, ankles hip distance apart, and then just start with ankle right behind the knee and moving your hips forward any amount or going forward and back a little bit, but only so much that you're keeping your pelvis vertical. Feel the front of the thigh, feel around your hip muscles. There's so much power in the mind. If you do these motions and your mind is off someplace else or not focusing on the area of the body, you get a lot less benefit. It really is true. The power of the mind to focus on an area, the body knows what to do to heal itself. So a part of that is paying attention to your body and being like, oh yeah, this doesn't feel good on my knee. Let me move over a little bit. Let me see, or maybe this is too much for my body. Okay, take that foot and hop it out to the side a little bit, out to the right. And again, you can move or stay steady. And then come back to center and go over to the side. And you can move or stay steady here. And if these holds feel too long for you, like it's too much pressure on your joints, absolutely come out. Do not hold longer. Endurance happens with time. Everything we do in the chair classes works up to the things we do here. So we do a lot of these lunges and different angles on the chair, but without the pressure on the knee. So let your body adapt slowly. Doesn't matter what age you're starting from, you have to start where you are, and then your body will give you so many better results. One of the reasons I can do this and I can hold it and it doesn't feel bad on my joints is because I do so many chair classes and I do this stuff where I allow my body to change in gentle ways first. Okay, bring that foot back with your toes tucked under, push down to come on up to stand. Grab whatever you're going to use. I think we're gonna do top of the foot stretch first. So with our feet straight and our ankles hip distance apart, you can work on rotating your thigh bones into neutral. Please remember that you cannot rotate your thigh bones into neutral if your feet are crooked, because then your thigh bones aren't really into neutral. And that's where movement has a thin line of becoming dangerous. It's not dangerous if you do it once in a while, but if all the time you're rotating your thigh bones into neutral and your feet are not straight, then you are pulling on your joints in a way that is not going to be good on them in the long run. Whereas if your feet are straight and you're rotating your thigh bones into neutral, you're putting your bones in a position where the muscle is going to start working more and it becomes very good for your hip. That's a very subtle difference. So that's why you'll hear me talk about it over and over again. Check are your feet straight? Check are your ankles hip distance? Don't take it for granted, because that's the difference between the next step being harmful or better for your body. All right, from here, push down through your outer right hip, hug it in. How about just barely tucking? Like keep your knee bent and keep your toes almost next to your front foot and just barely tucking your toes under. So you're just on your toes. If anything is painful, come up or put a towel back behind your foot. And then let's slowly go back. How about you just take your leg back a tiny bit, maybe try to get a little bit farther back on your foot. And if in any of these variations, you might just stop. You might be like, no, I don't want to do that one. And then how about taking your leg back a little bit farther? You can work on that neutral rotation of your standing leg thigh bone. Can you lift your kneecap up and down? That's important. And then how about taking the leg back farther? All right, let's switch sides. Outer edges of feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Push down through your outer left hip, hug it in. Barely tuck the toes under so the leg is quite forward. Check on what's happening in that right thigh bone. Is your hip, or left thigh bone, is your hip going out to the side? Hug it in, stack your joints. And stretch that leg back a little tiny bit further. Seeing if your foot will curl under more. If not, maybe at first just the leg moves back. And go back a little bit further. Check in what you're doing with the standing leg. So it seems like we're just standing here and stretching the top of our foot, which first of all, at first, if you've never stretched the top of your foot, is quite an experience. Maybe step back further with that leg. But there's so many things you can work on if you start to get experience in neutral alignment. Like, is my foot really straight? What is my thigh bone doing? Can I relax my kneecap? Is my hip going out to the side, or are my joints really stacked? All of these things are exercise because you're putting them in a position that perhaps your body doesn't naturally fall into. Okay, and release that foot. Let's go to a calf stretch. I'm going to use a thin block. You can use a rolled up towel, something about this height. Put the ball of your right foot up, your heel down. I'm really into the stepping lately. I like this, but you can stay still for your calf stretch as well. You can just put your foot at whatever position feels like a good calf stretch for you. Now, if you're tight and when you step your foot forward, your body crumbles forward or your knees bend or you clench up, start with your foot back a little bit and then maybe you could step your foot a little bit forward and a little bit back. If you've been doing this a while and it feels comfortable, maybe you start with your feet closer to even and you push down and pelvic list on the calf stretch leg and step it forward and step it back. And over time, with ease, you see how much further you can step the foot forward, but without turning your hips. So you're not stepping your foot forward and your hips are turning. So you're keeping your hips square. So the motion is happening in your hips and not in your spine. So forward stepping. And you're trying to bend the knee as little as possible. So if you push down through the standing leg hip, the leg swings through and then the leg swings back. All right, let's switch feet. Ball of the foot up, heel down. You can choose a static stretch, outer edges of feet straight. Once again, so easy to slip that heel in, push down through that outer hip, so your pelvic listing, so your inside foot almost wants to come up off the ground, and then forward and back. And again, don't hesitate to have your forward and back be here. That's the first step. And then over time, you'll notice it will creep forward a little bit more and a little bit more. And you can press your limits. Like, what happens if I step my foot way far forward? My whole body wants to go with, so I know that that's too far. My knee wants to slightly bend. So you can press your limits a little bit just to check, but nothing forceful, nothing aggressive. Does your heel come up the ground? You don't want your heel coming up. But we are literally working on improving our stride length here in a very effective way, which is so good for the longevity of your body, for balancing, for walking, for pelvic floor health. Start where you are. Okay, come on off there. You can move that to the side. Let's start up at the top of the mat with the outer edges of our feet straight, ankles hip distance apart, and then you're sitting back in your hips and pressing up. So again, just a reminder, if your feet are slightly crooked here and you're sitting back and your thighs collapse in, you're not truly putting your hips into neutral. It all starts with the feet and the position of the ankles. So don't overlook that. That's so easy to overlook, but those you know from taking these classes how subtleties make a difference. That those feet being straight really do make a difference. Good. Sit back, slide your shins back. Watch your thighs collapsing in and out. All right, next time you come back, fold forward. You might want to block here to keep inside your right foot. Step your left leg way back. From your left leg being back, you're starting with your knee right underneath your hip. So you're keeping that leg lifted and you're putting a bend in the knee and straighten. It's much more of a foot stretch than your spine going up and down. So you can bend your knee and see how my hips are going up and down. It's not a hip motion. It's your foot bending so that your knee can bend. Okay, this time put your knee all the way down and we're going to change the angle of the knee. So just like we did earlier, you're going to put that foot a little bit out to the side, and especially for this, a little goes a long way. So you don't want to hop way out to the side. Wherever your foot is, just hop it a little bit out to the side. And then you're going to lift and knee bends there. And you're just getting a slightly different angle of the front of your thigh. And if it's too much with your knee lifted the whole time, you can bend it to the floor and then lift it up. Okay, next time your knee bends, put it down. Put your ankle right behind your knee, scoot it in a tiny little bit. And then from there, lift. So your leg's at a slight angle behind you, and bend and straighten. Slightly different work in the hip. Slightly different muscles working. All right, and then softly put your knee down and bring that knee back to center. Tuck the toes under, lift the knee, and then walk halfway around to the left. Parallel your feet, outer edges of feet straight. You're going to bring your hands in front of you with your pinky fingers together and sit back into a wide squat, backing your hips up, and then circle your arms around, pinky fingers together on top. So pinky fingers together on the bottom, palms face forward, pinky fingers together on the top, palms face behind you. Pinky fingers together, pinky fingers together, and pinky fingers together, and pinky fingers together. Good. Open your arms out to the side, straighten your legs for just a moment. You're going to do very little increments. So turn your toes out the tiniest little bit and sit down into a squat. Notice your ankles. Do they roll to one side or the other? Try to keep your ankles steady and open your inner thighs and press up. Turn your feet out a tiny little bit more and squat down and press up. Turn your feet a tiny little bit more, squat down and press up. Turn your feet out a tiny little bit more, squat down and press up. Then re-parallel your feet. Fold into a half forward fold, backing your hips up. And slowly come up. Heel toe, spin your heels in, turn your toes in. Feet still straight, your legs are a little closer. Rotate, pushing your hips back. Great time to practice rotating your thigh bones into neutral, but make sure your feet are straight. And then come up. Heels come in, toes come in, not quite hip distance apart yet. And push your hips back, hips over the heels, and come up nicely. So heels, toes in, you're a lot closer to hip distance apart. Rotate your hips back, sit back into a chair pose. Keep squatting down. If this transition doesn't work for you, then you're just crawling your way down to your mat, but you're coming up off of your heels and lowering your right knee down to the floor, followed by your left knee, and then you're releasing the tops of your feet. Now, if this doesn't work at all and you crawled yourself down, stay up high on your knees and sit your hips gently to the right and sit your hips gently to the left, just as far as it doesn't feel discomfort on the knees. Maybe pad your knees here. Otherwise, you're sitting back on your heels and you're sliding your hips over to the right. Maybe they come down to the floor. If you find that you're falling, then don't go so far over, and slowly pull yourself up and go over to the left. And then slide across and go over to the right and pause there, keeping your left fingers down. Take your right arm up and over into a side bend. And then bring that hand down and twist your belly towards your legs to the left. Unwind, slowly slide across to the other side. Come down sitting on your left hip, legs crossed around your side. Left arm goes up and over into a side bend. And then bring that hand down and twist your belly to the right towards your legs. And then unwind your twist and scoot your hips back up through center. From center, turn back sideways on your mat. Come on down. Thumbs spread out, top of the rhomboid push-up. Extend your right leg straight back behind you. Reach it long. Rhomboid push-ups with your leg in the air. Elbow pits wrapping forward. Keep reaching that leg back strong and breathing. Okay, cross that right knee behind your left leg. Split your lower legs apart any amount and push your hips back. Come back forward, uncross that right leg. Now again, find the top of the rhomboid push-up. Right knee lift straight up off the floor, just straight up. Open it out to the side. And back down, hovering over the floor. And open it out to the side and back down. 2 more like that. Open out to the side and back down. And open out to the side and back down. And then put that knee down. Let your hips go back and over to your right. And then slide your legs in front of you. Bring your hands back behind you, fingers knuckle distance apart, elbow pits wrap in. You can stay here and just scoot your hips farther away from you and take another chest stretch, or without scooting your hips farther away, press down into your feet and lift up into a tabletop and lower back down. Press through the soles of the feet equally. You shouldn't feel all the work in the upper body. Your legs are big, strong muscles. Push through the feet, lift up through your hips, and lower back down. Now you might feel a bigger stretch in the chest if that area is tighter. That's okay. Push into the feet, lift up, and tap down. And one more. Push down, lift up, and tap down. Scoot your legs back around to the right. Come onto all fours. Come down to your forearms. Reach your right arm behind your left arm. Breathing here. Okay, slide that right arm out. Come back onto your hands. And then from here, we're actually coming on up to the knees, and you're stepping your right foot forward. And then from here, we're going to do some full lunges. So if coming up and coming down into a lunge squat doesn't work for your body, then just maybe pad your back knee and hold your lunge for a little bit longer. Otherwise, with those back toes tucked under, we're pressing up and going back down. Maybe tap the floor. Press up, pelvis stays in neutral. And tap down. Press up a little. You're still keeping the pelvis in neutral. Back knee okay to be bent. Tap down slowly. Press up and tap down. Switch legs. Step your right leg back. Step your left foot forward. Tuck your back toes under and push up and tap down. Press up nice and gently and tap down. Press up and tap down. Press up, tap down, check that your knee's not going past your ankle. Remember that for next time. Press up and step all the way up to the top of the mat. And then from here, let's go around to the second side. So feet are straight, ankles hip distance apart, or maybe for this one, since we're going to squat a little lower than a chair squat, maybe take your feet a little bit wider. And then sit your hips back and take them a little bit lower. And then as you go lower, slide your shins back and press into the backs of the legs to come up. Sit back, maybe your hips go a little bit lower, slide your shins back, press into the back of the legs to come up. Nice and controlled, no falling. Sit back, maybe hips drop down a little lower, push your hips back, press into the entire sole of the foot to come up. One more. Sit back, hips slowly go down a little bit lower, push your hips back, press into the heels to come up. This time, sit back, fold over your legs, maybe have a block inside your left foot as you step your right leg way back. With your ankle straight behind your knee, micro bends of the knee. Without the spine moving up and down so much, rolling off the back foot. Breathing. All right, and then put that knee down, and a little goes a long way. Scoot the foot a little bit out to the right, a tiny bit. Tuck those toes, lift the knee. You slightly change the angle of just your back leg. Roll off, press back. All right, put that knee down. Take the leg a little bit across the other way. A little goes a long way. Please go slow with this, so as soon as you lift your leg, you can feel if it's discomfort from your knee. That way, change the angle automatically. Shouldn't be any discomfort in the knee at all. The work is happening in the hip. Lift up, and little bend, and straighten. If you're on the center of the foot, that also helps with the knee. All right, put that knee down softly, bring your foot back to center, lift your leg up, and walk halfway around to the right. Parallel your feet, back your weight up into your heels, come on up to stand, pinky fingers together, sit back into that wide squat, circle your arms around, and around, around, and around, pinky fingers. Bring your arms straight out to your side, press up a little, micro movement, feet tiny turn out, squat down, inner thighs open, knees not going past the ankles, press up, feet turn out a tiny little bit more. Subtleties make the difference. Press up, feet turn out a tiny little bit more. Squat down, press up. Feet turn out a tiny little bit more. Squat down. Press up. Re-parallel your feet. Rotate your hips as you push your thigh bones back. Come up slowly. Heels in, toes in. Feet are still straight. You can rotate your thigh bones into neutral as you come into a half forward fold, backing your hips up. Come up. Heels in, toes in. Back your hips up and come up, heels in, toes in, about hip distance apart. Back your hips up, thigh bones rotating into neutral, kneecap relax, and sit back and slowly squat down, lift up off your heels, and then your left knee drops down, followed by your right knee, and then you're either standing on your knees and sitting your hips back nice and slowly, or sitting all the way down and scooting your hips over to one side and pulling up and going across to the other side. Ooh, I can feel the work in my waist here. Haven't done these for a while. All right, next time you go over to the left, stay there. If you're on your knees, just sit down to the left with your legs curled around behind you at any angle. And then from here, take your left arm up Hand to the shoulder, elbow hugs in, side bend. Come up slowly, twist towards your legs. Unwind, release that arm, hips scoot up and across, over to the other side. Right arm goes up into the air, wrap the elbow forward, hand to the shoulder, elbow in, side bend. And then bring your torso up, twist your belly button towards your legs. Good, then unwind from there, and then from there, come on up onto all fours, hands and knees. Spread your thumbs out, wrap your elbow pits forward, top of the rhomboid push-up. Press down through the right foot, right hip hugs in, left leg extends straight back. Straighten it as much as you can. Rhomboid, oops, I bent the elbows. Nope, rhomboid push-up. Just the upper back. And then cross your left knee behind your right knee, split your legs apart, push your hips back. Come back forward, uncross that knee, top of the rhomboid push-up, left knee hovers off the floor, open to the side and back down. Open to the side, back down hovering. Open, back down, open, back down. And then from there, put that knee down, let your hips go back and over to the left. Bring your legs around in front of you. All right, hands back behind you. Now let's do a wide lift. So your feet as wide as your mat with the edges of your feet lined up. Fingers knuckles distance apart. Elbows hug in as you push up into a wide tabletop. And tap down. And press up. How about holding for a few breaths? And tap down. How about legs all the way together? Big toes touching. Press down, lift up. Tap down, press down, lift up. And tap down. Take your legs around to your left. Come onto your forearms and reach your left arm behind your right elbow. Feel the twist of the rib cage, feel the subtle twist of the waist. Breathing. All right, slide that arm out, stand up on your knees, left foot steps forward. We're just doing 2 on each side this time. Tuck your back toes under, press up a little, squat down, tap, press up, squat down, tap, switch legs. Feet straight, ankles hip distance, press up a little, squat down, maybe tap, maybe don't go to sit on. You could have a small stool, whatever works for you. You could sit on a block this way if it works for you, get something a little bit higher, but I want you to try to stand in front of it and squat down to whatever's behind you. So sit your hips back and slowly squat down and have a seat and find out what is high enough that you can sit on like you're sitting in a squat position, but you can somewhat relax with your ankles under your knees, your hips in flexion, your pelvis rotating forward. And if this means a chair, then that's okay, but try to get something that you feel comfortable sitting on. And if it's sitting on one block like this, then go ahead and you can put one block down. Sitting up nice and tall here. Lean forward into your legs a little bit, and let's take a couple rib breaths here. Put your hand on your back right above your waist and breathe into that area. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. All right, come up. If this sitting position is not comfortable for you, feel free to change it. Reach your hands, cross your right arm in front of your left arm. Hold on to these pieces of tissue right on the sides of your neck and kind of gently pull them down and forward. Hopefully I'm not messing with my mic too much here, but you're pulling those tissues down and forward. So it's like your spine is moving back and you're trying to get a width across the very upper back, right at the base of your neck. It's almost like you're trying to spread that area a tiny bit wider. And then with that spreading, drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And then your left ear to your left shoulder. And your elbows are relaxed down. I'm just lifting mine up a little bit for mic purposes. Bring your head back to center. Keep pulling that skin gently away from each other as you turn your head to the right. And turn your head to the left. And then switch arms. Cross your opposite arm on top. Again, you're pulling down, you're weighting down gently and gently pulling forward. So you're spreading the very upper back, the base of your neck wider. And then drop your left ear to your left shoulder. And you're not doing what I'm doing. I just move my hands because I don't know how bad it is with the mic. And drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And bring your head up, pulling forward, getting that space. Spine moves back as you turn and look over your left shoulder. And turn and look over your right shoulder. Good. Then come back to center. Hands to the breastbone, pull down on the breastbone, lift the front of the throat up into the air. Maybe pushing the bottom lip forward. And then release. And how about from our ears again? So I heard from several people this felt really good where we pulled on our ears. So this time, instead of just up to the side and down, just gently go up your ears. And pull out a little bit at a time, like you're walking your fingers up your ears all the way to the top, and then work your way back down, pulling them slightly out, very, very gentle, just gently working your ways down the ears. And then just rub the bottom of the ear lobes nice and gently, pulling down on them very, very, very gently. And then from there, you're going to come off of this block and make your way down to the floor and put whatever you would like underneath your head. And once you're on your back, reach your arms overhead, spread your fingers out, spread your toes out. Feel the length of your body. And then let your arms slide down by your side for your final pose, Savasana. Letting your gaze soften or your eyes gently close. Becoming very present with your body and with your breath. Stay present with your body, your breath. Your body, your breath. This is a poem by a guy named Dave Orsillo, just something I found online. The collection of poems are called I Am We, which I think is a pretty cool name. I will be your sun. You carry a whole world with you. A planet rests upon your shoulders. You may not see it, but I do. There is a universe within that you carry wherever you go. Ecosystems of passion and romance, warring nations of worry and fear, a billion living ideas, stories, and experiences that make up a whole history named you. Wherever you go, I promise to be your son. It's not that your life revolves around me. Think of it like this. Whenever you come to me, I will do my best to be quiet and still and shine nothing but kindness and light upon you. Allow your breathing to become just a little bit deeper. Feel into the sides of your rib cage, into the back of your rib cage. And then if you're ready to move any part of your body that feels good. And there's no rush, but when you're ready, roll over onto your side. So sometimes it feels good to move a little longer. Sometimes it feels good to lie on your side a little bit longer. So you can always come to your side. Lying on the side is sometimes a very comforting position, the fetal position. Making your way to your side if you haven't already. And then with a softness and an ease in your face, your jaw, press yourself up to a seated position. You can sit any way that you'd like to. Feel free to mix it up. Bring your hands together at heart center in gratitude for this day. Namaste.